For the past fortnight, the Compass Group has been providing meals for Dunedin Hospital patients since the Southern DHB began outsourcing its hospital kitchen. The Compass Group trucks frozen meals to the South Island from Auckland and Tauranga for distribution. The meals are reheated and provided to hospital patients and to Meals on Wheels clients. Now, Liz Green is a Meals on Wheels volunteer. She says the new meals provided by Compass are simply not up to scratch. In fact, she says she wouldn't feed some of them to her dog.
We've been delivering Meals on Wheels in our local community for the last 8 years.
And by we, you mean you and your husband?
Yes, I do.
And have you seen a deterioration in the quality of the meals during that time?
The original meals were all very much the same, but the new meal that has recently come out is not of the standard that I would expect, particularly for such a vulnerable sector of the community.
Can you describe them to us? We're looking at a photo for people who are watching online, but for people who aren't watching online, I can't even tell you what that is. It's on a bed of rice and it's two brown things.
That was a meal that was had in the hospital made by the Compass Group. I can't say whether that went out as Meals on Wheels. The meal that I have seen was meant to be a sausage casserole, which was served with mashed potato and some other vegetables, but it was very watery, it was very wet. We end up with a spare meal every time, just in case somebody has a visitor and needs a second meal, or in case of something happening and one of the meals being compromised in its seal or just not being suitable to leave. And I brought that meal home on Thursday and had a good look and actually tasted what was being taken out, because we had so many comments that the meals were not fit for consumption. And it was incredibly salty, it was full of water. The sausages in the casserole were, well, I wouldn't give them to the dog.
You wouldn't give them to the dog? They were that bad?
They actually went down the waste disposal. I have a fox terrier here who would have loved to have had a sausage.
And so you wouldn't give it to your own fox terrier?
No, and I wouldn't even give it to my chickens. The amount of salt in it would have been too much for my chickens.
So where are these meals being prepared, Liz?
To my knowledge, they're being prepared somewhere in the North Island, whether it's Tauranga or whether it's Auckland, and I apologise for the pronunciation.
That's right. And how are they and so are they frozen? How do they get to you in Dunedin?
To my knowledge, they come from their manufacturing place to Dunedin as frozen packages and are then reheated to blisteringly hot before we take them out to the clients that need Meals on Wheels.
And previously they were made from scratch locally?
Yes, they were.
Okay. Tell me about your clients. Gosh, that's a terrible word. Tell me about the elderly people that you are delivering these meals to. What do they make of them? What do they say about them?
Some of them, I believe, are just happy that they've got a hot meal, so they are basically settling for whatever's given to them. But others have travelled in their time and have seen different cuisines, and they understand what a nutritious meal should be like. They're intelligent people. They're not people that deserve to have second-rate food. They are very engaging. They're lovely to spend that few minutes with each time we go. And it's nice, they're always so grateful to us. They're grateful to Age Concern because they're organising everything, and Age Concern do a brilliant job. But when it comes to a meal that one of the ladies in particular put out and could not eat, partly because it was so wet and sloppy and had spoilt in the reheating, and secondly because of the amount of salt in it, it was just inedible. It was really not nice.
Liz, how much are they paying for each meal?
That I honestly can't tell you. I believe it's around $5 or $6, but you would have to find out from Age Concern. We don't have any dealings with that.
An 87-year-old woman is quoted in the ODT this morning saying, describing one of the meals she received as disgusting. Is that over the top, or have you seen disgusting meals going out?
I've heard about disgusting meals more than I've seen. We go out once a fortnight, and this was the first time that we'd taken the new food. And to be told out of the 8 clients that we spoke to that 3 were very dissatisfied, and one is the lady in the paper. she was definitely going to cancel those meals the next day. She wasn't going to have them again after Friday. And an 87-year-old shouldn't have to be looking for a new source of nutrition.
What will they do instead? If they're not getting the Meals on Wheels, they lose the meal, and also in many instances they lose social engagement too, right? There would be
Yes.
occasions where you would be their sole visitor in the day?
Yes, I've turned up on somebody's birthday, and a lady who was 93, and I was the only person that she saw on her birthday. So it's a very important thing for anybody delivering for any of the Meals on Wheels services, whether it's the one from Age Concern or one of the other kitchens that do Meals on Wheels, but they are more expensive. I don't know whether they have the same ability that the Age Concern franchise had, which is to make sure that they have meals suitable for all dietary requirements. We have people on our run who not only are diabetic, we have people who need pureed food, we have people who need low residue food following bowel surgery or something of that type. They've got to be catered for in a very specific way to make sure they get the right nutrients.
And is the new regime doing that?
They must be, because we do get the meals named for people who have specific needs. But what their meals are like, I have no idea. We don't actually get to see them. They're in sealed containers, so I don't know whether they look any better or any worse. It's a very challenging part of the service.
Liz Green, so we called Compass today for comment and left messages, but got no response. It is Auckland anniversary today. Their head office is in Auckland. We contacted Age Concern. Its Executive Officer Susan Davidson referred us to Patient Services at the Southern DHB. You guess what happened next? Ms Davidson said Patient Services would be dealing with complaints from Meals on Wheels customers as well as Dunedin Hospital patients. So we called the Southern DHB, and of course we're still awaiting comment. We'll let you know what happens.